Welcome to Everlasting Summer, part 34, if I'm not mistaken. It's time to start Alisa's good ending. I'd considered not recording this and just, skipping it and just doing it on my own time, but I figured why not? We have most of the dialogue for Alisa, so hopefully it shouldn't take too long. So we're just gonna skip through all this, and I'll see you at the decisions. Yeah. Alright, so the first decision for Alisa is do nothing. We've already seen all this, so I guess next decision. Alright, so this next decision is bet with Alisa. I just noticed how almost impossible these are to read until you mouse them over, but bet with Alisa, that is 2 pluses, so yay! And we've already seen all of this. Alright, so we have to win against Alisa, which is what I did the first time around anyway, so skip the tournament, win against Alisa, yeah. Alright, we're at the next one, which is when Alisa is playing guitar, and as I should go take a look. And the next one is okay, I'll come, later that the night, to play guitar with her. We're not actually getting much reading in here, but now we actually will, because make up another excuse is the next one. It's the next choice, and we've never clicked on this one before, so... I was just walking around. Alone? Oh god, voices. I stopped for 2 days. I can no longer do the voices. Yes. Okay, that's not important. Why didn't you come to the ball? Well, frankly speaking, I don't like dancing. So what? That was a public event, which means every pioneer had to attend. She looked at me intently. You could just sit somewhere quietly. I'm sorry. I sighed. Okay. The leader softened. Go to bed quickly. The storm had passed. I tossed and turned but couldn't sleep. My head was full of thoughts about music, guitars, and Alisa. Wonder, could I become a professional musician? Yeah, we've seen all this. Alright, so this is at the point, I guess it stopped me, to stop the auto skip, because apparently I haven't read this before, but this is right after Alisa tries to take you into her cabin and then get you in trouble, and then you sneak out, right? If you remember that from the first route. And so, yeah. She calmed down a bit. I wanted to take revenge. For what? Really, what did I do to this girl to warrant revenge? You beat me in cards. What a fantastic reason. No doubt. I see. Maybe I should apologize to you? I asked sarcastically. Screw you. She went into the house, slamming the door. I wasn't angry at Alisa. In the end, I'd expect her to do something like this. Anyway, I got through it without consequences. I was very lucky. Her confusion and embarrassment just made my day. Chuckling, I left Alisa's cabin, which was about to become my death trap. Alright, the next decision, and this is like the third last decision. Holy crap, we're on day 4, like, I could probably just record this all in one sitting, but is give Alisa the activated carbon. Which you've already seen this, so next decision. Huh. So this is when Shurik is missing, right? I'm a little surprised Go with Alisa isn't an option on the guide. I'm gonna try clicking on it anyways, because we haven't done it before and we're doing her route, so the positive ending of her route at least. And Alisa goes with you. It was as if Olga had read my mind. Why is that? Well, who tried to blow up the monument? And as if that wasn't enough, who also tried to slander Semyon? She said it in such a voice that Alisa did not dare to argue. Happy now? She blurted once we were left alone. What do I have to do with this? Was it me who tried to blow up the monument? Alisa grunted and turned away. I'm not going anywhere with you. Oh, please don't. Great then. Excellent. Excellent. We stood silently for a while, not looking at each other. I dared break the silence first. Is that all? All what? All that you wanted to tell me? Yes, that's all. You mind if I inquire why you tried to blow up the monument? I was bored. Ah, right. Blowing it up would have definitely cheered you up. Yeah, actually, probably. Pyromaniacs, man. Teenagers. Lisa seemed really reluctant to go with me. As for me, however, I've decided to find Sherrick after all. It wasn't him who interested me the most, but the abandoned camp. For some reason I had a feeling that I might find out something there. I really did not like the idea of going alone at night. So, you scared then? Are you daring me? She gave me a sarcastic smile. Oh no, I'd never. Good luck if you're staying then. I turned around and started walking in the direction where the old camp should have been. Alisa caught up with me at the forest edge. I was about to ask, is she not coming with? Because if she is, then this is... yeah, I'm not going to record this all in one sitting then. Wait up. I'm going with you. Why did you Dane? Why did you decide to change your mind all of a sudden? I asked ironically. You don't need to know. She snarled and handed me a flashlight. That was quite wise. I don't know what I would have done there alone in the dark if it wasn't for Alisa. Electronic had told us the old building was built right after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. The night forest was completely unlike during the day. Just a couple of hours ago it seemed like just a small grove where even a blind man wouldn't get lost. However, as the darkness fell, the trees seemed to grow up, and bushes suddenly took up all the free space, and the paths, so wide in daylight, turned into barely visible waves in the dark green forest ocean. The final strokes to this picture were the birds, the insects, and the beasts, who were giving a concert, each with its own instrument, creating together an amazing yet frightening nocturnal symphony. We walked slowly, Alisa a bit ahead of me, and me in her wake, trying not to fall too far behind. She acted self-assured to a fault. Absolutely not like me. Every rustle of bushes nearby or hoot of an owl overhead made me cringe and look around timidly. Of course, it was obvious that there was not much to fear here. The local woods weren't likely to be teeming with wild beasts, and it seemed there were no people in this world at all, apart from those in the camp. However, the fear was there on the instinctive level, and I tried to walk carefully and to stay as watchful as I could. Discretion is the better part of valor, after all. Alisa stopped suddenly. So suddenly that I nearly bumped into her. Now where? Well, what? It's straight ahead, I guess. Are you sure? I tried to figure out the directions. It looks like we're going the right way. Or at least the way suggested by electronic. However, without a map, without a GPS or GLONASS navigation... GLONASS is just GPS, it's the Russians' satellites, but still. I wasn't even sure that we were still on the same planet, wherever it was. GPS is just an umbrella term. GLONASS is a system, though. Whatever. I don't know why I'm just like hung up on that. Whatever. We haven't taken any turns. We've been walking straight forward all the time, just as electronic said. You don't know that, actually. The best way to know that you're walking in a straight line is to make a path, go from tree to tree, and say, okay, this tree is straight for this tree, and yeah. Because the human mind does not know it's walking in a straight line. You blind yourself, you're not walking in a straight line. You'll be walking in circles. Mythbusters. Then why haven't we made it to the old camp yet? How should I know? Lisa's rude way of talking was already getting on my nerves. Are we already lost? Why would you say that? We were barely a kilometer away from the camp. So what? She looked visibly sadder. So nothing. If you don't like it, you can go back. Lisa eyed me disappointedly for a while, and then her face changed sharply. Well, I will then. She suddenly turned around and started marching briskly back towards the camp. Good luck there, I shouted as she was going. However, Alisa may be right, and we are in fact lost. In which case, it's not a good idea to stay here alone. The cool night breeze blew stronger, and I shivered. But going after her would mean losing face, even worse, admitting she's right. No, I'm not ready to accept that. I could have probably spent until morning arguing with myself about this, if it weren't for Alisa's scream. My legs carried me on their own towards where she went. About 20 meters, I nearly fell into a hole, just managing to jump over it at the last moment. As for Alisa, it looked like she had not managed to. I was about to point the flashlight into the darkness when I realized that she'd taken it with her. Well, that had to be expected. Are you alive? Yeah. Her muffled voice sounded up from below. Did you break anything? Hell if I know, idiot. A light flickered in the hole. I stepped closer and bent to it to examine how deep it was. The crumbling hole went about 3 meters into the depths, but it was pitch black below. That's not too far. That's, what, 18? Oh, that's 18. No, yeah, it was about 18 feet. Okay, that's pretty far. It's like 2 stories. Help me get out, Alisa yelled angrily. And how do you imagine I should do that? I don't know. Think of something. Well, what do you see now? Describe it. Well, it's sort of a tunnel, and... Nah, just a tunnel. A tunnel? That's weird. Come on, get down here. Is that the best idea you have? I'd rather run to the camp for a rope. You gonna leave me alone here? Elisa's voice lost much of its impudence? One of those two. But you're alone down there anyway. Hey! She cried out loud and directed the flashlight right into my eyes. Well, don't panic. Trolls aren't going to eat you there. I'll be back in a flash. Alisa was screaming herself into a fit from down below, but I couldn't make out the words. However, I only managed to take a few steps before the ground yielded under my feet, and before I knew it, I was tumbling down. I grabbed a thin root that somehow slowed down my fall. But it snapped under my weight and went flying down with me. Shaky, shaky. You're alive? Oh, well that's an easy way to get into the tunnels, I guess. I barely opened one eye as I felt a searing spotlight upon me. Ah, put it away. Lisa was squatting next to me and looking at me in a nervous manner. Any limbs broken? I don't know. I moved my hands and feet. Everything seemed to be fine. Given the height, I was pretty lucky to make it down alive. I barely managed to stand up and examine the crash site. That looks like it'd be like concrete floor, too. That would hurt. Indeed, we were in some kind of long corridor. There was some kind of heavy wiring along the walls and lamps encased in heavy metal holders attached to the ceiling. In any other situation, I would have guessed that it's a subway service tunnel, but it was hardly likely that Semyon had already reached such a level of infrastructure. Where are we? I don't know, but we have to get out of here. Climbing the crumbled wall was hardly an option. In fact, I was wondering how we even survived a fall from such a height. Well, it seems that we've got to find an exit somewhere else. How do we do that? Alisa asked, slowly turning pale. Not a single trace of her usual arrogance remained on her face. Well, I guess there's gotta be an exit here, right? Probably, but which way do we go? Now that's a good question. At first glance, it seemed like a good idea to head towards the camp, at least in the direction I thought it was, but I hadn't seen anything there that resembled an exit from the catacombs. And that means that we should rather try the opposite direction. Give me that. I snatched the flashlight from Lisa's hand and pointed its light into the darkness. That way. We were slowly proceeding forward, with Alisa keeping a firm grip on my hand. In other circumstances, I might have been surprised, embarrassed, or even rejoiced. How should I know? But right now, I was just eager to get out of here as soon as possible. Wait. I totally wasn't paying very much attention. Yeah, we were holding hands. Okay. That's what I thought. My bruises from the fall were aching. The blood was pulsing in my head like a heavy pendulum. Even the flickering spotlight that kept illuminating the same cement walls continually wasn't exactly raising our morale. Damn. There's also Shurik. What? Why did we go into the night forest in the first place? To find Shurik. Oh, just forget him. He might have fallen down here just like us. Of course, Alisa has a point. This wasn't exactly the best time to engage in a search mission. If we don't manage to get out, there would be a search mission for us instead. But I couldn't just take my mind off this thought. It was as if Shurik was standing right before my eyes, giving me a reproachful look. "Look out!" Alisa yelled. I almost crashed into a massive metal door. How the fuck did you not see that? I was just gonna try and read what this says, but it's in Russian, so I can't see it. A biohazard sign immediately caught my eye. This means that we're in a bomb shelter. I mumbled under my breath. Yeah, I've heard something like that. You have? Why didn't you mention it before? How would I know it'd be important? I guess you're right. Fine. Is this like a doorbell or something? That's the only thing I can think of it would be for. I grasped the door's wheel and pushed it as hard as I could, trying to turn it. The rusty metal grated but refused to budge. Stop slacking. Help me. Alisa hesitated a little, but then grasped the handle and started to pull. Finally, we managed to turn the wheel and the door opened. It was hard to mistake the room we entered for anything else. It was definitely a bomb shelter. Cabinets full of gas masks and dry rations, lots of equipment, bunk beds, and air recirculation systems. There was everything one would need to survive a nuclear war. Well, at least to survive the first blast. Alisa clenched my arm even tighter. What is it? What? In the butt. Say what? In the butt. She blabbered under her breath. I'm scared. What are you scared of? Indeed, what of? Well, I don't know, you're in a creepy tunnels with fucking bomb shelters around, and you don't know what the hell is down here. I ain't got nothing to be scared of. We tumbled down into an abandoned bomb shelter. Now we're wandering here in the dark, trying to find an exit. What's to be scared about there? Oh yeah, nothing to be afraid of. Those thoughts made me squirm, and I instinctively drew nearer to Alisa. She didn't say a thing, just blushed a little and turned her back to me. Well, in any case... What? We have to keep searching for an exit. Well, there's another door. Indeed, there was a door on the far wall, just like the one we came in through. However, no matter how hard I tried to open it, it was stuck. Need some help? No, it's jammed for good. I glanced around the room, trying to find something that would work as a lever, and noticed a crowbar in the far corner. Great! Alisa gave me a blank stare. Watch it. However, I still couldn't move the handle an inch even using the crowbar. Totally exhausted, I flopped on a neatly made bunk and gave a sigh. We have to walk back. Oh, now she's arrogant again. But we just came from there. Alisa seemed to regain a bit of her self-control, as well as her usual rudeness. Well, you can stay here if you want. There's water, ration kits, probably the radio's still working. She looked at me spitefully, but said nothing. My whole body ached terribly. It was only now I tried to relax that I began to realize how badly. A deep wound on my leg was bleeding profusely. My hands were heavily bruised. Blood was thickening in my hair. You cut your head? Ouch. And are you okay? I asked Alisa, either just out of courtesy, or because I was really worried about her. Well, fucked if you'd know. You'd never tell if you like a girl or not. Even after having sex with her. Jesus. It took her some time to answer. How can we be okay in a situation like this? Well, I mean that... Pointed to the wound on my leg. Oh! Cried Alisa. We need to sanitize it urgently. No need, I'll survive. Oh, stop. We must do it or you risk getting infected, and then they'll have to take your leg off. My granddad lost his leg that way in the war. Alisa looked truly concerned, and I decided not to argue. Okay, but it's kind of a long way to the infirmary. Hang on. I'm pretty sure there's probably something down here to help. She smiled and started to rummage through the cabinets. There was a fair chance of finding some kind of medicine in a bomb shelter, and soon enough Alisa pulled out a first aid kit with a triumphant look. Okay, hold still. Well, I'll try. Treating the wound with an iodine-soaked cotton swab felt like the touch of a red-hot iron. I clenched my teeth hard and hissed with pain. Oh, come on. It's not that painful. It is. Maybe you should try it yourself. It was easier with my other wounds, and soon enough I looked like a leopard, all covered in brown spots. Ah, antiseptic. Thanks. Don't you think that was anything special? Don't you think that was anything special? We just had to treat your injuries. Lisa snorted and turned her back on me. Sure. Don't first aid kits usually have bandages and stuff, too? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's just a step they just didn't include because there's no point in it. I refrained from arguing and got up from the bunk. Even a short rest had definitely been good for me. Well, shall we go? So we're not finding Shirk. Oh, I wanted to see how Alisa would deal with Shirk. Alisa clenched my arm, walking close in step with me. We headed back slowly, carefully looking for a hole in the ceiling. The tunnel seemed endless. We couldn't find the place where we fell down, not after 5 nor even 10 minutes. Are we lost? Alisa asked sadly. It might be possible to get lost in the forest. It just came to me that that's exactly what we'd accomplished half an hour ago. So to refrain from scaring her even further, I continued with confidence. But this is a single straight tunnel. You can't get lost here. So where are we going to end up then? My words didn't seem to calm Alisa down enough. We'll get out of here. There's always an exit. Really? You gotta get away. You gotta get in. Of course there is. The workers that built it had to get back up to the surface, didn't they? Yeah, I guess. It appeared that she was trying hard to look as bold as usual, but it wasn't turning out well. In the dim light, it was evident that Alisa was shivering. A look of extreme exertion was plastered on her face. Fine, let's move forward. Wait, what? Wait, so we started on this side of it? Oh, I thought we started on the campsite of it. Where you'd come up in the old camp. In a few minutes, I noticed a hole in the floor. It looked like a shell crater, large enough to get ourselves through. What's down there? Hell if I know. I nailed and pointed the light downwards. Damp ground, some kind of rail tracks. Must be a mine. Alisa looked at me questioningly. Of course, we couldn't easily sidestep the hole, but my instincts insisted that we wouldn't encounter anything good proceeding down the tunnel either. Well, it looks fucking blocked up, so there would be either a dead end or yet another jam door. On the other hand, it was naive to believe that we would find an exit in the mines. We could give it a try. In the worst case, we'll just come back. It's low enough to let us climb back up later. Her face took on a suffering expression. Then Alisa turned away from the light and quietly said, "If you say so." As I thought, we were in a mine. Miles of rust-eaten tracks stretched far away down the corridors. I could virtually see the overloaded minecarts creaking along these tracks ages ago. The walls were propped up by rotten beams, and water occasionally dripped from the ceiling. I wasn't sure whether it was scarier here or in the catacombs, with the bomb shelter above. I'd say that up there, it was like a post-apocalyptic setting, and down here, occult. I never understood how to pronounce that word. Medievalism reigned. Occult, I think is the way you pronounce it. In any case, I was even more eager to get out of here, and do so as soon as possible. Alisa didn't utter a word after we descended into the mine. She just walked next to me, clenching my hand so hard I started to worry. "Are you alright?" "No," she said quietly. "I understand that it can't be okay, but how are you holding up?" "Fine," she replied with that indifferent voice. "That's good, because I really wanted to say because if you go nuts, it's going to be a massacre. Because if we will find an exit. We'll definitely find one." "Yeah. It seems she wouldn't last much longer. We should go faster." I quickened my steps and reached a fork after a couple of dozen meters. "Well, so, which way?" Alisa seemed to have completely disconnected from the outer world and didn't worry about what happened to us, or how we could leave this place. "Well, let's think. To the left or to the right? And what if we got lost?" I decided to put a mark on the wall in case we got lost and return to the spot again. Soon a large cross, scratched with a stone, decorated one of the beams. So, now we're ready to go. This again. Following the curve, I saw a wooden door in the torchlight. I think we got to this faster than ever. There you go. Here's something. You think so? Alisa looked a little refreshed. Sure. Frankly speaking, I really wasn't sure that there would be an exit behind this door. But it wasn't like we had any choice either way. Anyway. I pulled the handle. Yep, this is definitely it. We found ourselves in some kind of room that resembled either a boiler room or a utility room under the bomb shelter. Empty bottles, cigarette butts, and other bits of debris littered the floor. That proves that there is an exit from these caves. I scanned the room with a flashlight, and in the farthest corner I saw Shirk, doubled up and trembling all over. Shirk! Who is it? He stammered. Shirk, we've been looking for you all night, and you're just sitting here. Get up. I'm not going anywhere. He started quietly, but with every word, his voice gained strength until he was shouting at the top of his lungs. I'm not going anywhere. No, I won't go anywhere with you. You don't exist. You aren't here anyway. It's a hallucination. It's unscientific. Yeah, unscientific. What do you mean you aren't here? Here we are. We came searching for you. Alisa had remained silent until now, but then she let go of my hand and took a few steps towards Shirk. What are you doing? I asked quietly. She hesitated for a moment, but proceeded as if not hearing me. I thought I heard a slap sound. Finally, having come close to the lost pioneer, Alisa fetched him a scathing slap across the face. You! We nearly died searching for you. Those damned woods at night, the bomb shelter, those freaking mines. I'm one mass of bruises thanks to you. And you what? You're just hanging out, drinking booze and seeing pink spiders, you bastard. Shirk stared at her with a bemused look. Now then, get your ass up and move. No. He began to whisper quietly. No. Somewhere deep inside of me, on the very edge of my awareness, I had a feeling that something really bad was going to happen now. Well, look at Alisa. It happened. A premonition, intuition, or just an analysis of the situation. From the way Shirk was sitting, or the expression on his face, hinted at his following actions. And probably all of that together, I rushed to Alisa, the light furiously jumping all over the room and highlighting Shirk's face for a second, twisted with madness. He was wielding a metal rod, and if I had been a moment too late, he would definitely have smashed in Alisa's head with it. But I made it. Everything was like a dream. The distant shout of a girl, a hollow thud, the flashlight going out, and the eerie silence. Except for the heavy breathing of Shirk. It took me a while to come to my senses. What are you doing, you jerk? I checked my arm and felt it okay. The blow landed on the flashlight. So now we were in complete darkness. You won't get it. You won't get me. Shirk's hysterical laughter was quickly fading away in the distance. Hey, where are you going? Get back here now. Won't get. The yell vanished into the distance. What a freak. I've tried to fix the flashlight in the darkness. No way. Shirk smashed it to pieces with his rod. Then I suddenly thought of Alisa. Are you okay? I heard a quiet sob, and at the same instant I felt her embrace hugging me tightly. Okay. It's all over now. Everything's fine. Well, in fact, nothing was fine, but I needed her to get a grip on herself. Otherwise we stood no chance of getting out of here alive. I tenderly caressed her head. I wonder, Alisa crying, is that a funny thing? No, it's not, you asshole! Maybe in different circumstances. I'm scared. That's okay, I'm scared too. I noticed this strong and sudden transformation in Alisa. But what the heck, anyone would be scared in these circumstances. Not Chuck Norris. Moreover, she's a girl. That's sexist. But why aren't I scared? You just said you're scared, you liar. No, not scared. Why am I still able to keep my mind clear and speak sense? Might it be because I have to worry about more than just myself? Okay, come on. We have to get up and out. We have to get out of here, anyway. Hold on, just a sec. Said Alisa quietly, and the room became illuminated by the dim flicker of a lighter's flame. Where did that come from? The statue. She forced a smile and handed me the lighter. Alright. I quickly swept my eyes over the room, searching for something that could be used as a torch. There were some tattered rags and a rod among the debris on the floor. One of the bottles contained some liquid that smelled like industrial alcohol. Wow. For better or for worse, in a minute I was holding something that resembled a flaming torch in my hands. I don't know how long it will last, so we gotta move quickly. Where to? Lisa seemed to be regaining her senses. Let's go back. At least we'll reach the bomb shelter. For one thing, there's light there. She gave me a quiet nod and took my hand. Okay, it's not making me walk through this again, is it? The torch was burning poorly. We had to reignite it every other minute. One didn't have to be an oracle to project an extremely short lifespan for that rag we were using. I became more and more afraid that we wouldn't leave the darkness in the mine. You couldn't rely too much on just the lighter. And I'm gonna have to end this one here. We'll continue this on next time. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.